everyone. So before we go forward, we have Archana Ravi who wants to present something, which is how spirituality matters in addressing climate change. So can we have Archana Ravi?
Hi everyone, am I audible?
Yes.
Right. Shall I start?
Yes, Archana.
Okay. So the reason why I selected this topic is because we all are talking about climate change, and we all, at some point of our life, we all are knowing about the consequences that is happening in and around the nature. But I just want to put insights on how our human body and nature and also spirituality is connected to climate change in its totality. As you all know, that the world we are living today accounts for no stability, and the total outlook of the world has changed today. Here, the struggle for existence is more intense, and humans always strive to add comfort in their life, and as such, nothing in the world seems to be stable. And like I said, the relationship between nature and also human beings is interconnected and interlinked and also interdependent with each other. Now, let me tell you an example. Let's take a look at the Indian Constitution, right? The rules and regulations are set out by man. Let it be Britain Constitution or any other rules in the world, it has been given out by man. But how about a rule that cannot be destroyed? All the constitutional rules can be destroyed one day, but there is one law that cannot be destroyed, which is the law of nature. For example, if you see that if there are no enough plants, there are no enough oxygen. If there is so much emission of carbon dioxide, it is it is going to fuel to global warming, rising of temperature, climatic changes, etc. So this is what is explained in Sanatana Dharma in Hinduism. Me being a spiritual person, I thought I would like to put an outline of all these topics. So as you all know that dharma means an act or responsibility. So since nature and people are connected to each other, if we destroy a certain simple balance of our nature, then we are destroyed. And that is how the concept of Sanatana Dharma has come up. And the religion of India itself is spirituality. Now let's take a look at our patriotic song Vande Mataram. And there are a lot of patriotic songs for each and every country. When in Britain, it speaks about the heroic moments, the courage and fear of people. We in India, our patriotic song symbolizes Vande Mataram. And in Vande Mataram, it explains about the beautiful sceneries, mountains of West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, and Kerala. So it kind of signifies and shows how important nature is for us, right? And let's also take a look at how our human body is made up of nature. Actually, scientifically, it is proven that our human body is made of Panjabhutas, which you all know: water, earth, Vayu, Jal, and Agni. So our human body is made up of that. Now, I'm sure that many of you might have not noticed about this significant thing. When you are stressed or when you are depressed, right? What do you do? What do we do when we just get stressed or nervous? We take a deep breath in and deep breathe out, right?
Mm.
So the breath or the oxygen that we breathe has a level of, or it is imposing a sense of positivity in us. Or people say that when you are depressed, you go out in the nature, have a walk, go and stand in the rain. It all creates what do you call a sense of um, mental peace or positivity in us. So what I am trying to put forward here is that we do not understand the significant importance of how nature balances with our body. And nature and body are interconnected and interrelated to each other, like I said. And the interesting fact is that Earth is actually 4.53 billion years old. And our human intervention has started, I think it's been 200,000 years. And if we are calculating that in terms of a day, 24 hours, we humans have only spent 2 to 3 minutes. And the earth does not need us, but we need the earth. If
Okay.
you imagine a world where our temperature is going to be 75 to 80 degrees, or our oxygen level is going to reach rise above, or the sea levels are rising 5 centimeters more, do you think we can exist? No, right? So the only little things that we can do is maybe we can use more of, individually, we can use more of public transportation. We can reduce our thermostat usage in our homes, or we can reduce vehicle usage by riding cycles. I know that all these things that I'm saying has their own challenges. But like the logo says, every small act matters. If we individually try to do something, I'm sure that it is going to reach the institution, thereby reaching globally. So when we human beings understand the importance of the relationship between nature, human body, and the effect that it causes mentally and spiritually, then I'm sure that we will take this climatic issue more seriously. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you so
So,
much, Archana. That was very beautiful. And the one point that you mentioned about breathing and connecting with nature, I think that can also help in terms of preservation. When you feel strongly connected to nature, that's when you are going to want to preserve it, right?
Right.
So
Yes.
you feel a sense of ownership when you feel connected to a cause because you are connecting yourself with it. So, in that sense, we can also tie spirituality to conservation. So, very beautiful. I loved what you said.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Aishwarya.
Archana, so you were talking about using local, like trains and buses and local transport, basically. So, do you think with the change in the lifestyle of people, people like in Mumbai, the metro is coming, but do you think that due to the change in the lifestyle, people will actually go and opt for metro, especially during these times, like COVID? So, do you think like um,
Yes,
people?
many of the forces that are accelerating climate change actually is our consumer lifestyle because we are consuming 20% of what the nature is actually having. And like I've said, the earth doesn't want us, but we want the earth. And individually,
Exactly.
let's take the COVID times as an exception. But at least once in a while, once in a week, if we try to use a metro or a
Mhm.
bicycle ride or try to have a walk, a very small little change can lead to something which is positive. And when we do it, especially we are living in a social media era, what do? When you travel in a metro, you post a picture, you put status. 10 other girls will be inspired by you, or they'll be like, okay, maybe I should also do that. Because if we are living in a very transparent, open book life, right? So, answering to your question, Divija, I know that this is not going to make a significant change when it comes to global climatic, preservation. But if
Mhm.
we start from our ground level, maybe one or two people, like Sushmita Sen says, I cannot change the world alone. But if I do
Yeah.
something and if somebody else is able to resonate with that idea and is able to do something good, then that is all. So that is what I feel. If somebody is able to do a small deed which has been resonated by me, then I would be the most happiest girl in the world.
Yes, like I've also heard her say that you don't have to change everyone's mindset. If you change your
Right.
own mindset, that is enough for people to get inspired by it.
Absolutely, yes.
I think we undermine a lot of the times the power that every individual has. Like
Hmm.
little things that you do amount to something when it's done by a lot of people together. So I think
Right.
if anybody else wants to add any small acts that they've been doing or any idea that could help us, so please, because it's an interactive discussion, so feel free to jump in whatever you want to share with all of us. We are here to learn.
So, Aishwarya and Divija, I want to say something. Um, we all know that the ecosystem, as Rajiv sir said, that the ecosystem can preserve itself. We just have to give it time. So, I really want to highlight the 5 R's, which are refuse, reduce, and then reuse, and then repurpose, and then recycle. So the very first thing is, of course, from childhood we have heard that save the trees and recycle the paper, and now recycle the aluminum cans that you drink in, or even the plastic. Use the plastics which are recyclable. That is the very first thing we can do. And to all the girls out here who I'm sure like there are 60 girls out there, and we are the beauty queens and also the fashion influencers. I really want to highlight an aspect of thrifting, that is thrift shopping. So instead of buying a new product in the market, the fashion product, you can go for a reusable product because as per UN, the fashion industry is creating waste up to that's the second largest industry which is creating the waste. So if we each of the person can just refuse some of the products and not keep on buying things, and when they have to buy, they buy a limited product, and that also from those stores which are thrifting. So that will be a huge progress in that. And other than that, there are various startups which want the technology and environment to work together. There is one new startup which was awarded last year, and that startup says that they are making cells from aloe vera's chemical energy, and they are converting into electrical energy. So that way, we are first saving the toxic waste to reach our lands or water. And the second thing, a natural product is made, so we don't have to take care that it will how when it will decompose, or it's non-biodegradable or something like that. And we should search for those innovations, and we can definitely invest in such startups. Maybe minimum 500 rupees even, just to encourage them, and that will be a huge step. And also, I want to highlight one more aspect, which our Prime Minister of India, has already talked about. It is that one sun, one world, and one grid. So it's talking about the solar energy, and in the future, that's a very ambitious project. But if we can work towards it and have a solar panel on each rooftop, we can save a lot of energy already. For example, the Cochin the airport and the Kolkata airport are totally fully functional based on solar energy alone, and they have recovered uh, all the past cost in just 4 years. And that's a huge market in which even the money can be invested. There is more economy benefit, and also a lot of benefit in saving our environment from the wastage of water, and that particular water, and saving our marine ecosystem for sure, and also from the floods which can come due to the accidents in the dams, etc.
So
So
all
if
these
we just
things actually reminds me of, also one more thing about menstrual cups, like how women should switch to them instead of using the pads, because it takes a lot of time to dispose them
correct.
as well. And I mean, for them to get disposed. And what are your takes on that?
And the menstrual cups can go on for five
On and
years
on.
and
Yes,
easily
exactly.
we can reuse that. So
Yes,
that
exactly.
aspect of reuse also comes. So now we don't have to burn the used pads, or we don't have to decompose them anywhere. Yeah, I was about to say that as well.
Someone else
I
wants to hop
Thank
in?
you.
Yes, Ashwarya.
so
All
I
right.
also had seen or heard about this person who uh, collected all the medical waste, that all the masks and everything, and he was able to convert that into bricks to build houses. So there are
Oh, yeah.
people that are so innovative, and they just need the right push, because our generation really wants to bring about change. It's just they lack direction because they don't know in terms of financial resources, or be it in terms of support. So I think if we start pushing startups like Diksha said, I think that would really bring about monumental change.
Definitely. And that is the future, if the government works together with the private sectors to save the environment. And it's a full circle. Na? When we have the clouds, and then we have the evaporation, and then we have the rain. So it's a full circle. So,
Yes.
anyways, if we use something, we take the inspiration from the ecosystem and we take it into the technology, and then we use it. So there will be minimum harm.
All right, here. So I'd like to play a video by Executive Director of United Nations Environment Program in between. I'll be playing different messages from different people who couldn't join us.
For the second year running, we mark World Environment Day in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. But as we seek to move from crisis to recovery, we must take deliberate steps to improve human health and the health of the natural world. Because we know that many of the challenges we face stem from the degradation of our land, our soils, our water bodies, our forests, and our oceans. On World Environment Day, along with FAO and partners, we're proud to launch the United Nations Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. Our aim? To prevent, to halt, and to reverse the degradation of ecosystems worldwide. We seek to spur political support, generate science, and mobilize financial resources for the largest ever mass-scale restoration of our ecosystems. In reviving millions of hectares of terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems, we will profoundly improve human well-being and accelerate progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals. I am so pleased that Pakistan, as a global host of the World Environment Day this year, will lead the global charge to restore ecosystems on which we all depend. So this World Environment Day, let's all join in, because people and nature can heal together.
Can you also play V14?
Sure.
Have you ever seen time fly? Watch it slip through your fingers like a cloud passing by. Too slow to notice it leaving, too fast to make it stop. All we've known is to destroy like it's breathing. The pitter-patter of raindrops match the sounds of clocks counting down. Tick, tick. How lucky we are to live. We are a fraction of a second in Earth's lifetime, yet she is our only lifeline. Resilient, we stand on our own 2 feet. I'll tell you, reimagining the future has never tasted so sweet. Like nectar to a bee, honey to a home. No one can do this alone. Tick. The promise of restoration lives within us. We see her in the hues of the youth, and she's asking you, what will you stand for? Now is the time for our regeneration.
That was Jordan Sanchez, and she will be joining in the sixth session also. That will be at 3:40. So she is also the one who is behind the whole. She has written this poem, and she is behind this idea. So I hope that you all join in because she's a very inspiring person. Over to you, Divya. You're muted.
Yes, hi. So I also believe that Disha had something, some thesis to talk about. So can we have Disha?
Right. Hi, everyone. How are you, Divija?
I'm good. Disha, how are you?
It must be a long day for you hosting everything and stuff.
No, no, no. It wasn't me. It was Rajiv sir. So I just came in for the GSI hosting.
Okay.
So can
So
we know your
right,
thesis?
right. So the thesis I wanted to put forward was since I was detected of leukemia, that was about 3 years back. I went to some doctors. I showed myself. I also tried to do this Ayurveda and homeopathy. Nothing helped me. I went to so many doctors, I went to so many pharmacists who could recommend me some medicine or some treatment because leukemia is a big deal. So nothing helped me. However, I turned myself towards nature. I found out the secrets. I found out all the remedies of natural cures that could actually heal me. And I challenged myself, told myself that, okay, I won't go to the doctors. I won't go to the all biomedical treatments and stuff. I will take this in my own hand, and the ball was in my court. So I turned towards nature and I read so many Ayurvedic books, and nothing really helped me. Um, the thesis is a little bit controversial. Um, I tried all the vegetables, I tried all the fruits, and I went on a complete plant based diet. No man made food, no artificial food. And that really helped me. I saw the changes within 14 days in my body. To the core of my skin, my DNA started changing. Doctors were surprised, doctors were shocked. I mean, it was something which is unbelievable. A disease like leukemia was treated just by a plant based diet. So that really turned me into a plant based vegan. Today, I can proudly say that I'm out of leukemia just by adopting to a plant based vegan diet. So I have recommended that diet to a couple of other people as well, my friends, my colleagues, and it has really changed their life. So I just wanted to put forward these theses that opting to Mother Nature's diet is much more beneficial than the artificial diet which we eat today, because I believe there is every cure, every possible cure out there for every possible disease, because we all are one at the end of the day. And I believe that if we are from the nature has a cure for us. That's my thesis.
Yes, I would totally agree to that because if we need nature to heal, and even like the nature helps us heal. So right now
Right,
nature needs our help to heal. So tell me
exactly.
more about what are you doing for environment? Like how are you contributing towards environment, switching to plant-based products and food?
Right.
Are you planting trees then? Because if you're
Yeah,
having food,
totally. Totally. So I have like my own like a garden like on my terrace and stuff. So I like to like plant my own small lady's fingers and okras and little broccoli, and I do my part as a citizen, but I am also guilty at the same time because I don't want to romanticize stuff or say something which is not true. I am not quite keen, and I do not quite often plant trees and stuff. I would try, and I would definitely plant a sapling each day. And this program has definitely just horizons have opened up, and it has definitely broadened up my perspective. And I would definitely go ahead and spread the knowledge, and I would definitely take a step forward as well.
Hi, Disha.
Hi, Aishwarya. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. I'm good. I just wanted to say that you're a very strong and brave woman to be able to battle such a disease. And the whole idea of changing your dietary pattern, not only are you helping yourself, but you're also reducing your carbon footprint. So the
Right,
greenhouse gases emitted in the atmosphere are also reduced because of your actions.
exactly.
So while saying that, obviously it's not easy for everybody to shift to a vegan diet, but I think making little changes here and there would
Right.
definitely benefit the environment as well as our bodies in the long run.
Exactly. I mean, veganism is not only about eating, it's about environmental sustainability as well.
Exactly.
For the animals, and why do we differentiate between dogs and pigs? Why do we have pigs and why don't we have dogs? Why don't we just maintain that equality in animals? And that's the entire term about veganism.
So, how did you, came up to the conclusion that you should shift to a vegan diet?
So I did a lot of R&D, and I did a lot of experiments on myself, and that also had a side effect in the long run. But however, I came to the conclusion, I saw a lot of thesis, I saw a lot of empirical thesis, theoretical thesis, and I came to a conclusion that, okay, this vegan diet, it has really helped a lot. Dr. Sebi, he's the founder of the vegan diet. So he is one of the person who has really implemented the veganism and the entire vegan culture.
And even the point that you mentioned about planting trees. So I read this statistic that I want to share. One mature tree can approximately absorb 22 kgs of carbon dioxide in a year and provide enough oxygen for 2 human beings each year.
Right.
We might not realize the importance of planting one tree, but it is humongous when you look at the statistics. And I was mind blown when I came across this. So even
Yeah.
if somebody is taking action as simple as planting a tree, you are contributing in your little way to not only improve the air quality, oxygen in your surroundings, but also absorption of greenhouse gases. So
Yeah.
that is definitely a plus.
Right.
If there's anybody else that would like to talk about any issues that
Yes.
environmental related issues in their localities or any climate actions, please feel free.
Can I go next, Ashwarya?
Yes, please. Hi, Zoya.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful. So I would like to share my act, apart from the little acts that I do on a regular basis, that is restricting the use of electrical appliances or like carrying a water bottle instead of buying a plastic water bottle. These are little things we do on a regular basis. But I would like to put light upon one act that I do in particular, and I would like to share with all of you today. As not many people are aware of the impact of fast fashion on climate change. There was a BBC report, and I'd like to read that out to you. So, the fashion industry, not just the fashion industry, but the fast fashion that has come up in these few years because of online shopping and all of these apps coming up, and they put the ads in front of like everyone's faces to buy every new thing every single minute. So I'd like to read the BBC report. And we mentioned the fast fashion industry accounts for about 10% of global carbon emissions, which is huge, and nearly 20% of wastewater. If I want to put this in perspective, um, the environmental impact of flying is, of course, well known, but fashion sucks up more energy than both aviation and shipping combined, which is humongous. So when I read this report, I was literally mind blown. So my act, and I have always been following this, is to become a minimalist and an essentialist and reduce your carbon footprint. So, sorry. What happens, the emissions are made from the fashion industry. The whole process is how the clothing is manufactured, the transport, how they're disposed of when the consumer doesn't want it anymore. So the one thing that's problematic in the fashion industry is the pace at which it wants to change, and they encourage you to buy new stuff every single day. There's so many companies and there's so much advertisement that goes on, especially because of internet, especially because of social media, and everyone has their phones in their hand almost all the time. So the targeted ads reach the audience as quickly as possible, and they can, promote their whatever they're selling, especially when it comes to clothing. And according to World Bank, 40% of clothing purchased in some countries, in most of the countries, they're never used. And these throwing of of all the garments and the clothes, they end up going into the landfill. Or even incinerated simply leads to more emissions. So I'd like to give you an example, which I think you all will be mind blown if you hear it. For example, a denim, a jeans. So the UN estimates that a single pair of jeans requires a kilogram of cotton. Okay, and because the cotton tends to be grown in dry environments, producing this kilo of cotton requires about 10,000 liters of water, which is about 10 years worth drinking water of one person. And when you read such stuff, it just kind of boils down to how much the fast fashion industry just keeps pushing these ads. And I have met people I have known people who, just buy, they are shopaholics, and they keep buying things which they never use, never wear. Half of the things are just kept in their cupboard. And since we belong to the fashion industry, a lot of us, and now we're entering pageants, and a lot um, all of us mostly are interested in fashion, but we need to kind of think it through and be responsible while doing so. Also, the elastic, the stretchable material that these jeans are made of, they're derived from plastic. So again, when they're disposed of, it's a further impact on the environment. So my act is to reduce your carbon footprint, and I would request you all to invest. The 3 or 4 tips that I would like to give: invest in higher quality clothing. Don't buy cheap stuff that, the fashion keeps changing, and the wear and tear is very easy. You buy them, they don't, the moment you wash them, they try to, they're not as good as they were when you bought them. So that doesn't help anyway. So invest in high quality clothing, not cheap fast fashion. Wear them more often, and there is no shame in repeating your outfits. None. You have a washing machine, you can wash them and wear them as many times in events. And I have done that too, and I follow that a lot of times. Don't go crazy shopping. Don't go buy everything possible that's available in the market. Hold on to them, or hold on to the garments, to the clothes for longer, and not constantly throwing away your clothes to replace them with new ones. So I have started acting to reduce my carbon emissions for a sustainable environment, and I would want you to pledge to do the same. So that is my act. And I would like to have a discussion with all of you. And I know all of us belong to this industry where we, kind of need to have a lot of outfits, and we belong to the fashion industry. So I would like to know your thoughts about it.
Before moving ahead, ma'am, we've got some students from Brookfield who would like to ask certain questions from you guys. So
Sure.
Can I have Abnita here? Abnita, you here with us?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Abnita Sharma from Brookfield International School, and I have a question. As you see, plastic is everywhere, and styrofoam boxes are co-equally used. So what is your opinion regarding minimizing the use of plastic bags and styrofoam boxes?
Are you asking someone the question? Because all
Zoya,
of us are
ma'am.
confused.
Yeah, I think that was for Zoya, ma'am.
Hi. Yes. Sorry, could you please repeat that?
As you see, plastic is everywhere, and styrofoam boxes are co-equally used. So what is your opinion regarding minimizing the use of plastic bags and styrofoam boxes?
Plastic bags, I feel like, again, it starts on an individual level. I do believe in the butterfly effect, which is even the slightest of change a person could do that could, exponentially, expand into something big and change the course of history. That is what butterfly effect is. And even the little of the tiniest changes that you can do as an individual, that would help the society. So start with yourself, start reducing your plastic use, especially the single-use plastic. The single-use plastics are the worst because you use them for once and then you throw them away. And again, there's a lot of stack that's just lying around in our environment, polluting it. So again, carry water bottles, even if you're going out for coffees, for water, carry your mugs and water bottles and straws with you. In fact, even when you're going shopping, carry your own bags, so that doesn't kind of, hamper the situation. So for the other boxes that you mentioned, I'm not aware of. So can you please enlighten me on that? What exactly are those?
Ma'am, styrofoam boxes are a kind of expanded polystyrene which are specially used for making food containers.
Okay, right. So yeah, a lot of shipping, because of a lot of online ordering, a lot of shipping that happens, that has increased the use of packaging, which I feel needs to kind of reduce. And we need to somehow come together and make this more environmental friendly. So, but start with yourself and start educating. I feel like the first step to anything is educate yourself and educate the people around you. And once you've done that, I feel like half the battle is won.
Do we have more questions? Because if not, then we have Tanvi with us and we would like her to be spotlighted.
Yes, ma'am. Just one last question from Akshat. Who would you like to ask your question
Yes,
from,
yes.
Akshat?
Sure.
Good evening, everyone. I am Akshat Sharma from Brookfield International School, and my question to you is, what are some things which we can recycle apart from plastic to save the environment?
So who would you like to ask your question from?
Ma'am, anybody can answer.
Not anybody, you have to choose somebody. Okay. Who would you like to answer?
Ma'am, Tanvi, ma'am.
Okay, Tanvi, ma'am, you can answer. And can you repeat your question for ma'am?
What are some things which we can recycle apart from plastic to save the environment?
Yeah, so you want me to tell you the alternatives that can be recycled?
Yes, ma'am.
I think everything can be recycled except your family members and friends. Just like be very, very sure of what you think can be reused. For example, what I do in my house per se is I don't know a lot about recycling, but I know a lot about reuse. And me and my dad, we have this very great policy of just chopping off clothes that are like, some clothes we just want to throw, right? But what we do in our houses, we chop them off. So for example, if I have a good jeans which is like 10 years purana, I'll just chop them off into shorts. Or if I'm very bored of those jeans, I'll just rip it off. So I do that for my clothes. For my jewelry or for my anything, what I do is sometimes you don't care about jewelry that much, so I'm going to skip that. I'm going to take up things that you are interested in. So for example, let's say, what are you interested in, Akshat? In life, what are you interested in?
Ma'am, I'm interested to become an engineer.
Aisha, this topic I don't know anything about. Okay, so padhai, books, great. Okay, so what you can do is, I am a middle child, all right, and what I have always done is I have never bought books for myself. It's always my sisters whom I take, or my friends who are my seniors, I'll borrow their books. So that way I save paper, and I also study in advance. I'm done with college and everything. But when I was in my school days, I used to take all my books from my seniors. I used to study beforehand. So even before the school started, I used to like be ahead of everyone, if that concerns you anything. So yeah, that is something I've done with paper. So I've never like done all of that. Don't use a lot of paper. It's a very interesting story. So what happened today is, I'm so sorry, I'm talking too much, but okay, anyways. So today what happened was, my dad, he comes into the kitchen, and I have a younger brother, and he's born into 2000s, right? He's a 2002 born, and he's never written a lot in his life. He's always used, computers and laptops and screens to study and to do everything in life. So his handwriting, and he's 19 now, and his handwriting is still like a 5-year-old. So my dad told him, listen, if you want to come and, if you want to like join a business, if you want to appeal like to adults, like if you want to be presentable in front of them, you have to like start writing. And he said, Papa, I don't want to waste paper. I'll just WhatsApp them. I'll just, send them an email. And that makes sense, because I grew up in a generation where we used to study everything. We used to write everything in notebooks, and then used to, learn from notebooks. But this generation, you don't have to write everything. You just use less and less of paper. So yeah, do everything online and just have fun. I think don't think about too much. Just think कि कैसे waste नहीं कर सकते हैं, बस यही सोच.
Thank you, ma'am, for answering my question.
I don't think.
Hello, can I? Hi, Tanvi, I'm sorry to interrupt. Just continue. I'll start later.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
I said continue, please. I'll
I'm
start
done
later.
talking. I'm done. If you want to,
Okay.
yes, I will do that. But I am done with that.
Okay. So, Akshay, uh, on which screen are you talking to us? Is it a phone or a laptop?
Ma'am,
Are you
laptop.
talking?
I was talking to Akshay. Okay, laptop. So, do you know that there are recyclable products? All the electronic materials can be recycled. There are stores in India at various cities where you can sell your dead phones or batteries or even laptops. So that is, as you are an engineer, you're going to be an engineer. So you should know that the motherboard has capacitors and resistors, and that can be reused again. Or if not, they can be recycled and again put into the new phone. So that is very small thing, but it can make a huge difference because all these capacitors and resistors have toxic materials, and that will go into either the water or the landfills, and that can create a hazard for our society and our ecosystem. So next time, if you have a dead phone, go search for a store for recycling and just send it to them. Okay, Akshat?
Okay, ma'am.
Since it all comes down to how garbage has been disposed, I mean garbage disposal. So Arushi, do you want to throw some light on this?
Hi, Divija, can you hear me? I'm so sorry, I didn't really hear
Yes,
your
yes.
question.
I'm saying in the end, it all comes down to how the garbage has been disposed. So, do you want to throw some light upon garbage disposal, how the garbage has been disposed in India, and what can be done?
Yeah, so what I do is I live in Rajasthan, it's a very basic city. So since the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan has been started by a prime minister, what happens is every week or once in a fortnight or sometimes 2 times in a week, we have a vehicle come in and they take waste from us. What they ask is from us to just segregate them into two parts. One is the, I would say, liquid waste, something that is biodegradable, and the other waste is something like plastics or that. So
Wet and
it's a
dry.
very normal, yeah, it's a very normal and a very small thing that you can do, but it creates a lot of change. So what we do is we just segregate it and we, put it in the bins and collect it in poly bags and then throw it accordingly to that. And something else that we do, my mom actually does it. Wouldn't be taking responsibility for that. What she does is if she peels off a vegetable or anything like that, she would take that waste, collect it, and sometimes use it as manure for her gardening or feed it to any animals that are there around us. And those are very small things that we do at our home, and we sort of started it doing when I used to watch this cartoon called Shinchan. I know we have children viewing us right now. So I started watching this cartoon called Shinchan, and I had seen that one episode once where they would segregate waste accordingly. And I told my mom once, why do we not do that? We can easily do that. That's something so simple. And I was very little back then. I just remember this episode when you asked me this question. So it's a very small thing, but if even if we can segregate those wastes into two parts, the workers who give so many hours into doing this to recycle things, it would be a lot easier for them. So it's a very small step. And because of the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, we have vehicles come in to almost every home in India by now, I hope. And it's a very small step, and if we can take it, it's going to make a huge change in the future, I hope.
So, what about the ways that are being like that you see in all the water bodies and oceans, rivers, everywhere? So, what do you think about that? Because I recently read an article where there was some scientists went to the deepest part of the ocean and there they could find plastic. So, can you like put some light on that? Like, how is it affecting the ecosystem of water bodies?
Okay, so as we're listening to everyone talking right now, so I know for a fact that after a few years, the plastic would increase to such extent that it would cross the marine life, the actual life that is there in the ocean. So if we can make even small changes, I think it's never about making huge changes that
Exactly.
that we need to make, but it's all about small changes. So I research a lot about skincare. So, skincare, in sunscreens that we use, the mineral ones, or the ones that shield us from the sun, they are made up of harmful ingredients that wash off in the basin. But when they go into the ocean, they are very toxic to the marine life. And those are very small things that we can have a knowledge on, and if we do, it affects the marine life, the ocean in such positive ways. And I watch a lot of Hawaiian YouTubers talk about it a lot because they have oceans all around. Of course, I live in Rajasthan. I don't get to see water bodies a lot. I've been to see seas and all only once or twice. So that's what I would say. Small changes every time. For everything that we need to do, we need to make small changes, and hopefully we'll be able to save our Mother Earth and we'll be able
You,
to do something.
yes.
Yeah,
And
hi
because we are such
Arushi.
an active generation, we are hi. I don't see who's talking right now.
Aishwarya. Aishwarya.
Aishwarya.
Hi, Aishwarya.
So the point you mentioned about watching that Shinchan episode and the fact that you still remember it goes to show that how impressionable kids are and how you can guide them in the right direction if you expose them to the
Exactly,
right kind of
exactly.
knowledge and awareness, you know?
Yes, that's very true. I just want to, when you said that, how impressionable kids are. So I have a lot of cousins, and they're very young. So I have this one particular cousin. He's 5 years old. So every time he comes home, he asks for this one ice cream that the all I want is for you to buy me an ice cream. So every time he would come home, I would buy him an ice cream, and he would just throw that waste away. And I just started calculating it that he comes to my home 2 times a week, and if I keep buying him that ice cream, I might actually produce so much waste that my mom would start pointing it out. So what I did was start making ice cream at home, and every time that now he comes, I give that to him. So it's a very small thing that I do, but as I've said it so many times right now, that small things, small changes matter a lot.
And the sunscreens that you were mentioning about, it
Yes,
reminded me of these face washes that you get with micro beads in it, which is
yes,
plastic. And we do not realize the repercussions that can have. But if everybody starts using it, there's a lot of it that starts to pile up together.
yes.
I'm sorry, my cat is meowing in the background. But yes, that really affects the ocean bodies. And actually, I wanted to share something that I came across recently. It's about our nature having a vitamin deficiency. Now, that sounds very strange, doesn't it? The first time I read that on a YouTube video, I was like, wait, how does nature have a vitamin deficiency? Now, what they explained was that because of climate change, there's a difference in the way the circulating pattern of the ocean, right? So, planktons and other microorganisms in the water, which actually harvest this vitamin B1, thiamine deficiency is what it's called, they cannot harvest it. So the fish which are feasting on these plankton, they don't get the vitamin C. They start exhibiting neurological deficits and behavior. Now, when we are eating that fish, or anybody who's primarily on a seafood diet, the vitamin B1 deficiency starts to show in you as well. And it keeps magnifying the higher it goes in the food chain. So the solution for that would be to practice fishing in a way that it does not harm the oceans, because there are things like that that you come across every day, and you're like, wait, I never knew about this, but there's so much that I can learn regardless of my age, you know?
As you said this, I just came into this session and I was thinking the entire time that if I would be asked the question, if I would be asked to, speak about something, I had no idea what I was going to say, because all I have is my life experience and a little bit of here and there some studies from books and some chapters that I might have read, some researches I might have read. So, the having such sessions, the sessions that have been conducted here are so important, because what they give us is proper knowledge about things. And I've always been following this since I was very young. My mom would always say that half knowledge is very dangerous. If you do not know the full thing about something that you're trying to do, that is actually more harmful than not knowing. So if we would just educate ourselves and just make small things and do small things, gonna it's gonna affect, and I think we'll be able to see change.
Okay, how many of you know about the incineration plants? Does anybody have any idea about the incineration plants?
So the what? I didn't get
Inci-
you.
Incineration plants. Okay, so I would like to let everybody know that these are the plants that are equipped with the high electric furnace, which is technically being used in Japan and Singapore as of now, and it is used to reduce the 90% waste of the country. Japan is currently reducing the waste by 84%, and it is actually producing energy out of those waste. So what happens that all the waste is actually put into an electric furnace, which actually produces the energy, and then whatever waste that goes out, whatever uh, molecular waste that comes out with the air, that is filtered in a way that the minimum waste comes out in the air. And then what they do with those waste that they actually collect after filtering those from the electric furnace, they majorly used to make the ink, or they actually dispose it into the water, because they are then harmless to the water bodies and whatever land they dispose the waste into. So I believe that, I think the government in India also should be actually practicing that, and there should be certain plants in all the cities so that we can also produce energies out of the waste, and then we can also maximize the benefit out of the waste and also reduce the waste material across our country.
What is it exactly called, you said?
Incineration plants.
Incineration plants.
Oh, okay. I got it. I got it. So,
Oh,
incineration.
yeah.
Um,
Anybody?
so yes, I actually read recently that fossil fuels, like burning of fossil fuels, contributes to the majority of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. So if we do shift to other ways of producing electricity energy, we'll also be in turn helping to make sure that the average temperature of Earth does not keep increasing like it is at this moment.
Right.
So, hi everyone.
Hi,
Hi,
Shweta.
Hi.
Shweta.
Hi. All right. So, I also want to discuss about the impact of COVID that we currently are seeing in environment right now. Although because of it, a lot of people suffered for 2 years straight, and even after that, I mean, even going forward, we will be suffering for quite some time. But that has really had a good impact on environment. We can see reduction in pollution, fossil fuel consumption, transportation and industrial activities, even the tourist destinations that we have. We are seeing a good amount of restoration that is coming back. So definitely there is a good news there, and there is a bad news as well, because of COVID, there is an increased in PPE use, medical waste, then haphazard disposal of PPE and all the uh, hazardous like materials like PPE that we are using right now. The municipal waste is increasing. Our recycling activities have been reduced. So uh, all this will go away, eventually. But what what is the learning here is all the good that has happened because of COVID to our environment. How do we keep taking it forward? What is it that we can do right now to make sure that this small boost that we have gotten, to for the restoration of our environment, how do we take it forward? uh, I think we can, really focus on small behavioral changes that we do in our daily lives. Right from reusing, recycling, understanding where all we are. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes,
Yes, yes,
absolutely.
yes. All right. So understanding where all, what kind of companies we are supporting, what is the carbon footprint of such companies, that we are buying products from. So as Zoya discussed, as Diksha discussed, even Archana discussed on this. So we really have to be aware of, what are we doing? Are we separating waste, like Arushi discussed? Are we doing that? Are we recycling glass? Are we recycling everything that is going in our house? If we have clothes that are left, are we throwing it away, or are we giving it off to charity so that it can be used again uh, by someone else, right? So these are small small behavioral changes, daily life, that we can inculcate to make sure that this boost keeps going forward. Planting trees, making sure that we do our part in our daily lives while we live, and inspire others also who are living around us to follow these small small good habits. So that was, I mean, I'm happy to hear from others also. What do they think about this?
Hi, Shweta. Um,
Hi.
can you all hear me?
Yes, yes, Ayushi.
Yeah, so since you talked about how the COVID has impacted the environment, and especially how the COVID medical waste, if we talk about it, then it was recently in the news because of, especially when we face the second COVID wave, and the situation in our country has become really disastrous. That's when our country actually recorded, the highest number of biomedical waste we could have ever got wasted, which is around more than 18,000 of tons. So in a way, when this whole pandemic is already affecting the lives of our citizens, it's also affecting our environment very drastically. And there are surely steps which need to be taken in order to get into a better situation. So discussing about how this can be actually be changed, and how can we make it into a more positive way, because 18,000 of tons, it's been a too big rise since last year to this year. And it's very surprising, or even it's a very simple thing which needs to be done. I recently passed my 12th grade. I'm going to pass my 12th grade without giving the examinations, but I think I've been listening to this since my grade one, about the 3 R's: reuse, recycle, and so these three R's are the most basic things that we have taught, but we fail to understand and recognize that these basic things are the answer to even the biggest of problems. So even when we talk about just trying to get rid of this 18,000 of tons of biomedical waste, what comes first thing in our mind, and what needs to be done, is just about reusing and recycling it. And we have, for all from our doctors and experts, who said that what is going to help us is segregation of waste, and practicing the most basic 3 R's. So I'm really glad that you brought the topic of how COVID has been impacting, because if I am sure the only hazardous, or the only disadvantage that I was seeing of COVID till now was the how it's affecting our health and how we are losing citizens. But just giving it a perspective of how our environment is getting affected by it, I think it is something of very important concern, and raising and taking it as a topic of discussion. I think it's going to help us to go in depth about the topic, and let also hear more solutions from our other fellow
Yes.
beauty queens.
So because we have gotten this gap, our lives are so busy, so hectic. We keep doing what we are doing, our work, our school, education. So whatever part of life we are, we are so busy, so hectic. Right now we have this, just pause, a pause where we can, reflect on our activities that we do daily. When we brush, like so simple as that. When we brush, do we keep the tap of water open, right? Do we spend on plastic, or do we carry our own bottles, like the like Zoya said, right? So small things we can just reflect on, and correct it, because we have been for years doing this, right? For years we have this habit of doing certain thing in a wrong way, which is harming our environment, and we were not very aware of it. And small things, and then right now we have that pause to really reflect on it and make sure that we change it, because we have certain time that we will be having this pause. So we really need to reflect and change it, and inculcate its behavior on others also, like our family members, relatives, friends. We can really talk about this thing, and I think small change, 1% at a time, will really be a huge impact. So
I have a question to Zoya. Hi Zoya. Not audible. I think you're muted.
Hi, Archana. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
All good. Yes. Tell
See,
me.
regarding the topic that you said, since being an actor yourself, you said that we have to reduce using a lot of branded clothes or going on a shopping spree and all. But being an actor yourself, you have to face a lot of public events. You have an Instagram with a lot of followers, so you can't repeat your clothes, right? So what do you think about being in the limelight, all of us in one way or the other? There is no way that we can reduce the use of garments.
Right. That's a very good question, Archana, and I'm glad you asked it. So, being in the limelight, I talked about fast fashion. So it's different from the fashion industry because fast fashion actually promotes these cheap fabric clothes in cheap prices that you can buy instantly, and you can't wear them too many times, and you have to throw them away because they're not in a good condition after wearing them 2 to 3 times. So fast fashion industry is what is making more impact on the environment than say, for example, if you remember in earlier times, our mothers or like our parents or other people would buy these really good and like well stitched tailored clothes and have them for years, and they would keep wearing them again and again. But now, because of the social media and everything, um, everyone wants to get everything cheap, quick, and kind of throw them away. So that is what is harming the situation. If we just have so my act was to become a minimalist, where you, of course, you buy the clothes, have fashionable outfits, but reduce them and minimize them and be an essentialist. You don't need to have 100 dresses, right? You need to have 3 good ones that you can wear them and reuse them. So that's what I practice. And personally, I have like 3 pairs of jeans from the last 10 years and I wear them. And there's no shame in saying that. And I don't intend to buy because they fit me perfectly, and they, jeans don't kind of, the wear and tear is not so much. So you can do that. Um, when it comes to the what you spoke about being in the limelight, and so in the events, what usually happens is these fashion designers, they have these really good outfits made, but they kind of give you on rent, which I think is a
Yeah.
fabulous idea.
Yeah.
You take them on rent, you wear them for an event, and you give it back. And you would always see, a lot of celebs wearing the same designer outfits or wearing the same outfit twice. And I kid you not, it is exactly the same outfit, because I have been through that where it has kind of, sewn into like a shorter size, and then again the stitches have been removed to make it bigger. So that is something that I really like. And So everyone should kind of, instead of buying, we can kind of rent it out, wear it, and give it back. So one piece of outfit, which if you purchase it for, say, a wedding, and not a wedding, but like an engagement or somebody else's wedding, which you kind of wear it once and then you never wear it again. So if in such cases you can just rent it out, so that outfit can be used again and again and again, so kind of reduces your carbon footprint. And especially with fast fashion, I would really like to discuss with all of you of what your thought is on fast fashion. If you could throw in some light, that you do in your daily life, or if that's kind of given you an insight.
I think I'd love to add to it, in fact. So, hi Zoya, I'm Vachi. I don't know. Yeah. So, to add on to it, I think even Archana just mentioned about like the whole Instagram taboo of not repeating outfits per se. But I feel like because maybe we are people that have a sort of influential power or an influential word, you can say so. I think we should be the ones repeating our outfits, or maybe bits and pieces of our outfits, only so to normalize it for other people. Like with me, I sort of made it a motto now. Like reels have become such a thing on Instagram, like you're posting all the more often and they're reaching more people. So I made it a point that, like, okay, if I'm wearing a particular t-shirt with a particular pair of pants, if not the whole outfit as a whole together, I'd love to recombinate it with different bottoms or a different top or with different jewelry, so that it can be used multiple times. And I think with those like little nooks into your personal feeds, even if you have, let's say, 100 followers, if not many, those 100 people are like, okay, if that one person can do it, then so can I. And then that chain sort of, goes on for itself. So I feel fast fashion as a whole is quite bad for the industry. And considering we all come from backgrounds of either modeling or pageantry, we know how many outfits we can change in a day and how many we can get through in a month. So either, and it's also, I feel, even the whole concept of thrift stores coming up and people, organizing sales of their own closets on their feed, I find is a very smart idea to sort of do the whole hand me down process, but not really in your own house. If you don't have a sibling, or if you have a brother and you're a female and you really cannot do the hand me down system, you can sort of hand it down to another person. So, and there's this other thing that I do with my friends now. I don't know how common it is or not, but a couple of my friends are the same sizes that I am. So, once we are done purging our own cupboards, we will just keep, the clothes that are actually pretty much in very good condition out, and I'd let my friends come in and, they'd pick whatever they'd like. And then once they are done purging their cupboards, I'd go to their house and pick whatever I like. So it's sort of like a wardrobe exchange per se. So I feel those are things that maybe we can do to wear fashion in its best manner, but to reduce the waste.
And just to add on, I think there are a lot of women here today, so I thought it is a good, occasion for me to share this. But the point is not, nobody's asking you to not buy stuff, but buy few items that are actually good and better in quality so that you can reuse them. So that is one thing that I would like to put across, and not take it as don't buy anything and then you should do. It's not that.
Yeah, also you can borrow. So you can borrow from your friends, your friends, your sisters. I mean, I'm pretty sure that we being beauty queens, we have like really good connection. I mean, I think even normal girls would have that.
You can
It's
also
very
like
easy.
take down saris and suits from your moms and recreate something of
Yes.
your own, or make
That's
something,
right,
because right now
You
all
can
those old
restitch
fashions are
it.
coming back, like the flared pants which used to be in the 90s and 70s. Like right now it's coming back, so that's how you can reuse as well.
Right.
And I
This
think
is
I've
that
actually
seen
10% of the carbon emissions, which is huge and a lot, and my mind was blown. And I thought, people would think that, oh, why are we talking about fashion and this is about environment? But it's 10% of carbon emissions, which is humongous. So I think we should all think about it.
When you spoke about denims, there was this one brand, I can't really remember, but there was this brand who came across who used to make denim out of waste.
Right.
So
That
even
is
that's
quite
a really nice initiative. So basically, what I think is there are a lot of initiatives where like how Aishwarya also said about making bricks out of plastics. It's just that they lack publicity and they lack platform. And government should actually get into like get down to those people and give them good publicity, good platform, and even the money so that they can use it in their capital and flourish with exemptions.
We can quickly go to Sachi. She wanted to share some things here.
Hello, everyone.
Hi,
Hi.
Sachi.
So, I'm sorry my camera is off. I've been a bit unwell, and I'm sure you guys don't want to see that, so I've kept the camera off. But I really wanted to quickly talk about plastic since I have the opportunity now. I myself have been trying to go completely plastic free, and it's an act that has been rather challenging for me. I found that sustainable or biodegradable products are quite expensive compared to the plastic alternatives. Because of this, we obviously can't expect people with lower or no income to make such a change in their lives. But for the percentage of us that can afford to, I think we should try to be as plastic free as possible. I know that finding products that are sold in maybe sustainable packaging is harder to find and definitely way more time consuming. I always have the urge to like quickly go and buy a plastic shampoo bottle from the store, but I really think that those of us who are financially able to go plastic free should really, really try harder, and we need to, provoke others around us to reduce their plastic consumption as well. I know we've all talked a bit about plastic on this call, and I really do believe that, these kind of small changes really contribute to like a bigger change. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Hi. So we have to wrap up the session in about 45 minutes, and I think there's a lot of girls that I haven't had a chance to talk. So please feel free to.
Don't have the time constraint, but yeah, we can keep going. But we can try to give chances to Miss Teen Diva girls later on. Okay, let's start.
Yeah.
Asmita,
Hi, everyone. Good
want-
evening. Yeah. Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. You are.
All right. So since we're all talking about, the little things which we can do, so I thought I'll just put light on another particular sector which contributes a lot towards the pollution and climate change in general. Because I come from an architecture background, so I would want to talk about the building and the construction industry. So this is one thing which also has, so buildings in general, they contribute to about 40% of the total carbon emission in general. And even in the middle of this pandemic, in Delhi, we've seen that we had the construction of the central vistas, which had already started. So there's a lot of thing which goes on when we have one particular construction project, a lot of pollution. What goes into making a particular building is a lot of construction materials, and each of them has their own pros and cons. So at the end of the day, I think that if at our end we as individuals would take little steps to make things more sustainable, so that can contribute towards making the world a better place. Because recently we've seen that there are a lot of alternate construction materials which we can use instead of the traditional vernacular materials which we were using. So if we just have a little bit of a change, and because it's our house and our space and our buildings at the end of the day, so we as an individual have the entire right to see how our buildings and spaces are being made. So if we are a little responsible in that particular aspect, for example, even if you're just sitting in a space, which all of us do, and we all use a lot of different lighting equipments is something which at least all of us, require on a regular basis. We have our ring lights, we have other lighting because we need to sit in front of the screens. So if we are a little careful about what kind of lights are we getting, if we can switch to LED lights and we switch to those lights which have lower energy consumption, that can help and at the end of the day contribute into something bigger and better. That is what I personally feel. And apart from that, I also feel that it's not always about taking actions. Even if we just speak and amplify, that also helps. So I'll speak about my experience from 2 years back. I went for a climate change strike in Delhi, and
it was for the Fridays for Future. And we started walking from one particular place and we walked to another place with all our captions and slogans and banners. And it just felt so good to see that our generation is, so much willing to do something for the community and for the climate. And it actually bothers us because we are a generation who had the privilege to go out and play in the nature out there when we were children. But then now the children who are coming up right now, unfortunately, because of the pandemic, they're not able to see the nature as much as we did. So I think it's our responsibility that we amplify a lot of things and tell them how things work, because they anyway just sit in front of screens. So that is what I personally feel.
So, when you spoke about construction, one more thing came to my mind was cutting down of forests, like
Absolutely.
deforestation.
Right.
So, what do you think about that?
I mean, because of construction, we actually cut a lot of trees. We don't realize what we do, but even if we are construction, for example, if you see the pictures of the India Gate Arena right now, you'll just see and feel very bad about the fact that all the trees on both the sides, they're just not there. And this is a very, very major loss, I would say, because at the end of the day, we have seen how people struggle for the little oxygen. I mean, it has been the worst in our country. So we've all seen that. And I think we should sort of have long-term plans. If at all we are even thinking of cutting one tree for a particular construction to happen, we should just make a proper plan about how we can plant 100 maybe instead of that one tree which we're cutting. Without having concrete plan, I don't think construction should anyway take place. And also about moving to simple little lighting or maybe installation of solar panels, because now that we all are aware about it and we know it, when we as clients go and ask our architects or constructors to just make something for our buildings, we should give them our inputs. We should just not let it be on them to decide what they want, because as it is, climate responsive buildings are coming up, and it's very important to reach that sustainable goal which we have. The United Nations has 17 goals, and a lot of them are we can achieve it, but we have to work towards the right way. That's what I think.
Asmita, you mentioned about cutting down of forests and for construction purposes. It also brings up the question that we're encroaching on wildlife, and then they don't have an option. Like so many times we hear about leopards encroaching, us encroaching into their territories, and then leopards having to come to the city area and hunt here.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially in Mumbai, I remember Sanjay Gandhi National Park. So there's been constructions from all sides of the park, because of which leopards don't get enough space to be inside, and leopards are very territorial animals. So they all have their designated spaces. So the weak ones have to come outside of that area to look for prey. So many kids and adults have been killed because of that. There's stray dogs that have been killed. And again, when the dog population is decreasing because of this, there is an imbalance that's entirely created. So it's very, very important to take this into consideration before mass cutting down of forests.
Eventually it's because of the imbalance in the ecosystems which we are creating. Exactly. That's what it comes down to. And at the end of the day, the most basic thing which we come down to is the population. Because there's a lot of population, we need housing, and because we need housing, we're again cutting things. So I think at the end of the day, it's a cycle, and we need to just get back to the cores and start thinking about how we can change this.
But what's the solution? Like, because the population is increasing, we need more space to live, and cutting down trees is what is the only option for people. So as to build more buildings. So what's the solution in the end?
So I think what I feel is that is why we are coming with climate responsive buildings, and there are also certain buildings which we call as zero net emission buildings. So we have rainwater harvesting systems, sustainable solar cells, and all these systems we have the HVAC system, which is the heating and the ventilation and air conditioning systems, which consume the maximum energy. So we always try to work for these systems, which so that they at the end of the day can have low emissions. That's the goal. So we have separate designers who look into the HVAC, who look into the sustainability of the waste management, and together to make the buildings better. Because if we cannot control the surroundings, then what we can do is we can try to make the buildings more sustainable, since we don't have an option. So at least we can minimize the emissions for now, and then we can see how we control the surrounding environment.
Okay. Ashwa, you want to
Also,
speak
very
something?
well planned societies are needed where we have a proper building which has some stories, but outside we have a garden with full of trees and all the ecosystem restored. And also there is a concept which is just a concept right now abroad, that they have trees in the balconies. Like these are called balcony forests. So
Right, they
they
have balcony forest and I think green walls as well, if I'm not wrong. So they have these in the facade because it helps in, producing more oxygen. And as you were saying, Diksha, so I was just talking about one single building, but we also have a lot of housing coming up. So when we plan for a group housing, we need to, think about every single space in the locality. We don't want to miss out, as you said. We don't want to miss out on any essence of a particular, ecosystem. So when we plan that, we need to see that they have the entire holistic feeling for the person or the user who is using it.
So whichever house is made, we can have a proper garden in front of that. Like nowadays, we have the parking plus the garden. So there, the trees can be planted instead of just the small plants or flower plants, whatever. And to cover up the other part, the LED you talked about, those are called fluorescent
Yeah,
bulbs.
the CFC.
And yes, so if whole of the India actually adopt those things, so that way we are stopping 1 million cars emission on road. So that's a really huge amount.
I think people
It's a
are
very small step, and still we can do a huge work.
Absolutely, I agree. I think people are slowly and gradually moving towards CFC bulbs. I mean, also about the green facade, which I was talking, even in Chhatrapati Shivaji Airport in Mumbai, we have this multi-level parking which has that facade. So there are things which we are adapting as a nation, and I think that's something which is very good. There are also a lot of cities which have, now on their flyovers, they're adopting these CFC bulbs, and it's a very good way of controlling these little things, because at the end of the day it makes a very huge difference.
So what we can do is in the balconies or on the terrace, we can have a proper system of plants. At least, if not the trees, but we can have the plants, and that at least they can give the oxygen we require for the environment.
Right, and to minimize the use of air conditioning systems whenever not needed, because we do have proper ventilation, keeping everything, keeping the windows and the doors open for proper ventilation. And these are the basic things which we can
So
do as.
previous people were used to believe in ventilation, but nowadays it's very compact house system. The architecture is going that way, that they will have a minimum of windows, etc. So we will need the AC. So that should be reduced by having more ventilation.
Yeah, so we need to invest time on deciding what kind of HVAC systems we need, and we just have to aim as individuals to have low emission systems at our homes, because that's the least which we can do.
Talking about plants when it comes to balconies, there are, a big mistake that a lot of us do is that, there are certain kind of plants that we, try to grow in our gardens, but those plants will take the oxygen when we are sleeping. That is why it is always recommended not to sleep under a tree at night. So while we are planting, I mean, if you are planning to have trees in the balcony, especially if it's somewhere near your bedroom, make sure that you are opting for plants that doesn't take our oxygen at night. Example, tulsi. Then there are other plants also. Maybe I can share pictures, which is spirit. It can, bring out a positive aura in you, and it has been scientifically proven also. So yeah, that's all.
I do agree with you. I mean, there are certain indoor plants which we should not have inside our room. So it would be great if you can share with us sort of.
Done. Yes, yes, sure. And also, while I was just watching the videos initially, there's this thought that has come up to my mind. I kind of felt really guilty that, to be really honest, I don't think I've planted a lot of plants in my life, maybe one or two saplings, that's it. So I was thinking that all of us as a GSI group have a lot of followers on Instagram. There are celebrities, there are people working for different things. So is there any initiative that we as beauty pageant girls can do when it comes to, climate change or anything, maybe a hashtag or a dare that we can give to other girls, or, something that we can do together as a family for that, as like a small act, maybe. Aishwarya, since you come up with a lot of ideas, maybe. Yeah.
When you mentioned the dare part, we could actually do something like that, like one girl giving dare to another person, environmental related, something like that, like pushing somebody else to do that act, and then
Challenge, basically.
about yes, challenging, yes, for a better word, yes.
Mhm.
So because we would do that, like the entire GSI family being involved, I think that would reach a lot of people, considering the fact that they would know that there's multiple girls involved in this particular thing. Because sometimes what happens when you preach to somebody that you should do something,
Right,
people don't
right.
always tend to take it kindly. They don't feel as inspired, but when they see you on ground doing something, it really makes a difference.
That's
Especially when
absolutely
people are
right.
madly going behind reels and all those crazy dance stuff, I think we should start a trending reel, which can be connected to climate change and where we can dare all, like even the previous winners of GSI and all. Maybe I don't know.
That
It's just an idea that popped up when I saw the video.
That's
Very smart
absolutely
idea, though.
great idea.
We
That way,
actually,
these will be entertained as well as have a proper impression, and then they will start thinking.
that's right. We
Right.
actually did start by planting some
Tree
trees, which
planting.
we did.
Yes.
We couldn't take it forward, but we did start that initiative.
Yes.
So if anyone
We'll
comes up
think
with
about it.
any challenge, yeah, please do let Nikhil sir know about it.
Okay, we can actually inspire everyone to start planting the trees, and they can post a picture with them, and then a few of the lucky winners will get to have interaction with the GSI girls and the winners.
Wow.
That sounds good.
There would be lots of fans of all of you guys who would be willing to do it. Very happy.
Yes,
So,
sir.
Urbi ma'am, you were raising your hand.
Uh, yes, since people were talking about construction and all, so I want to share a thing. Like, I live in Ranchi. Actually, hi, sorry, I forgot to give my introduction. Myself, Surbi, and I am from Jharkhand. So I live in Ranchi, and there is a mall. Okay, the biggest mall here, that is Nucleus Mall. Rather than cutting trees and constructing things, that mall is constructed on a land that people used to dump things. Like they used to dump garbage, and like no one ever imagine that this land can be used. And you know what? All the plastics and fibers things are used to decorate the parking section, and it really looks good. So it's about how you see things and how creative you can be.
That was smart of them, though.
And
Anybody
that's
else who wants to say
repurpose
something?
aspect.
Oh, let's go to the birthday girl once.
Tanu.
Tanu,
Hi, sir.
hi.
So, when everyone was discussing about fashion, just I had a thought that we never recycle our wedding gowns or wedding lehengas. No one has ever recycled their wedding lehengas.
and it takes a lot of time and energy and resources to make them. So I think we can rent them out, and more people would be able to afford it and reuse it for their weddings, and they would be more happy because we are actually exploiting those resources and wasting them in our cupboards. So we can do it. And I think more than we need it, we are used to it. Like, we think we need it, but we are more used to it.
Yeah, many people keep their wedding outfit for like remembrance and stuff like that. Even I don't feel it makes any sense.
I know no one uses it, and it is like it's in the cupboard for
And
years and
occupying
years.
paper. Yeah.
And it is never used. So I think that is very useless, and people can rent it or maybe share or maybe
Maybe you
pass
can gift it
away.
to somebody who cannot afford
Right,
buying
so
such a good lehenga or whatever collection you have for your marriage.
Right.
All right. Anybody else who wants to say something? Somebody having some different idea? You can
So
raise
may
your hand. Okay, Shivangi wants to go ahead. Okay. Coming back to Shivangi.
So I think the first thing, all these ideas are great, but the thing is, it cannot be implemented unless and until we get rid of the societal taboo of one has to spend a lot on their wedding lehenga. Because every time we are in a wedding, we always hear relatives speaking about, ki, oh, her lehenga was only this much, her lehenga was only that much, she rented her lehenga, as if it's something that is really terrible. So I personally feel that before implementing all these ideas, we need to get rid of this taboo as a society, thinking that just because one is spending a lot of money on their clothes, it results into a happier marriage or a happier life ahead. So this is what I feel.
I would add something to that point. The day we start getting not offended by such comments, I think that would be the start of the change.
I agree with that, sir.
Okay. Anybody else from GSI?
All right, so
Hannah,
I'm
do you want to
share
go?
a video here.
Okay, sure.
Niin se metsä vastaa, kun sinne huutaa. Joten handut multaa. Ja sit handut ilmaa. Sanasta miestä. Sanasta naista. Greta sanoissa. Ota kiinni ja loistaa.
Yes, we all need hope. Of course we do. Yes, we all need hope. La 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 la. Yes, we all need hope. Of course we do. Yes, we all need hope. La 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 la. But the one thing we need more than hope,
All right.
We shall move on to the next girl. Over to you, Divija and Ashwarya. You can invite anybody you want.
Yeah, I was saying, Hannah, do you want to speak about something?
Yes, thank you so much, Divija. Actually, I was listening to all of you girls with these great ideas that were so wonderful. There is one village within Telangana. This is about the food waste management that they have come up with a great thought, but it's just that government hasn't focused on any of them. The great thought is that there is this one particular village, a very remote village in Telangana, where there's a small hotel within this small village. Whenever the food gets wasted, which is an obvious thing that gets wasted everywhere, and what they do is they have dug a pit, and every person who wants to throw away the food, they come down and throw the food there. And what this happens is this leads to a biogas which has been produced there, and most of the people there only utilize the biogas to cook their food. And whenever the food again gets wasted, it's just thrown into the same pit that is arranged near the hotel. And every hotel that has been constructed, that's not bigger one, it's a smaller one, every hotel is constructed, what they made a rule is that they dig a pit and everyone throws in the food there. So what if this initiative can be brought up in many of our places, and government throws its light on such places? And I believe it's a great initiative that they have started, although that being a very small place, and maybe because of that, that has not been exposed. So food waste management is something, it is making a major impact in that particular village, is just using the natural resources and bringing across the good things into the society.
All right, thank you. We're gonna quickly have
And one
Tanvi.
more thing is that
Okay.
that is a COVID-free village. That's a great.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Okay, we're gonna go to Tanvi.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
May I just say that you look very dapper in these new chashma? I should just like put it out there.
I'm just trying to save my eyes.
That's so nice, but it's looking really good. Quite
Thank
a
you.
look. Okay,
you.
thank you so much. And it's so lovely to see all of you all here. And it's so lovely to just listen to everyone's views and opinions on environment. And it's great to see such energy at 12 a.m. It's really unusual, but it can only happen with beauty pageant girls. So I'm very happy and proud to be a part of these lovely contestants and, you know, my fellow beauty pageant aspirants and winners. Just a very quick things. I'm not here to preach. I never would ever want anyone to preach. But I think it's really, really high time that we make things which are seemed uncool to be cool. I think, for example, very recently, so abhi summers hai, right? So the electricity bills just come like anything. So our electricity bill came to about 8,000 rupees. And my dad sends a WhatsApp text on our group saying, please check. Respective people should take note of who's switching on the AC 24 hours. And I knew he was talking about me because it's so hot in Maharashtra. So like we have a group meeting, like at dinner, everyone is sitting at the table and he's like, so Tanvi, did you look at the WhatsApp message I sent? I'm like, yeah, we did. And he's like, so what should we do? I'm like, we really need the AC because it's really hot. So he said, we can do one thing. Since you need the AC, it's like an essential to you now. I don't know for what reason it's an essential, but if it is, we can do one thing. We can switch on one AC wherein everybody, like all of us, can sit in that room. You cannot switch on the AC separately in your rooms. Like that's not allowed. So we agreed to that. So we sit in one AC and we switch it off for an hour, then we switch it off. Second thing that we do is we have a lovely terrace in our house. So he said, why not explore that? You should just sleep on the terrace and you might sleep better and might as well wake up earlier. So we decided, okay, fine, we can do that. So now every night we all sleep together on terrace and there are stars and it's just the loveliest sleep I get.
and we wake up at 7. It's the best. I mean, 6 to 7. It's the best time, and I've had like the best. And now the electricity bill will hopefully come down to 3-4 thousand. Hopefully, if not, I don't know what all these will make us cut. But the second thing, which I think is regarded as uncool, was I remember back in my school days, my dad got me electric bike because every one of my classmates, they were getting bikes and they were getting everything, and he gets me an electric bike. And I remember feeling so embarrassed just driving it, because it used to drive for I think 30 kilo. I don't know. The speed was really, really low. But now I think about it and I'm like, that was the coolest thing he could have ever done, because other countries are doing it. Like Elon Musk is making electric cars. He's making electric everything. It's just that in India, in very like few cities and metros, there are electric cars that are being used, but they're very expensive. So if you have connections and if you have someone in Tata, please tell them to make like cheaper electric cars so that every one of us can afford, and we can save on electricity and we can save on petrol and diesel and everything. That will be a great thing. So I think these were my points. And third point, last, I'm not going to say more things. The last thing is that I really believe in all of us. I really believe that we can actually make a change. The only thing that we don't do is take initiative. Corona is an example, like a prime example of how if one person takes an initiative, people join and people care and they love and love deeply. So if I take an initiative of whatever you want to do, we've been talking about planting trees, it can be anything. You just have to take the initiative and people will join in the good cause, because we all are here and people intrinsically are good human beings and we are all here to do good. So if we take the initiative, you and I together, under the blessings of Nikhil sir and Rajiv sir and Nishant sir and everybody, we can, do wonders. And that's what we're here to do. So happy Environment Day, and it's 12 o'clock. And
Yes,
happy birthday to all of us and our mother nature. I'm done. Thank you. It's so weird.
Okay.
So weird. The awkward silence.
Thank you, Tanvi.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I will take your leave.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm gonna move next to the another girl. Who is left?
Sir, I think Suzanne is left. I see
Suzanne. Okay, let's go to the mountain girl.
Yes, so hi everyone, a very happy environment day to you all. I hope I'm audible.
Oh, we are having some difficulties in
So like 1 second.
voice.
Audible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So as you said, as you introduced me as the mountain girl, like I was born and brought up in the mountains, amidst the mountains and forests, and like I know the privilege of living amidst the forest. And like I want to share a little initiative that goes in my state. It has been going on in my state since 2017. So what happens here is like the state allows us to legally bring trees into your family. That is like in an endeavor to protect both the environment and local tradition. We have a local tradition here, like since, I don't know, very long time, that we actually we enter into a meet or meet any relationship with people, which actually means like adopting a sibling or like taking a sibling. So what we do is the government allows us to forge a personal relationship with trees. That is like in 3 categories. The first category is like myth and mythini category, wherein an individual can enter into a myth and mythini category with a tree, which literally means taking a sibling. And trees can also be adopted by those who prefer a parental relationship or register a Smriti tree in remembrance of a departed relative. So basically, my motive of sharing this is because since we know that the CO2 levels are rising, and then like we are probably offering to climate change, I just want to like enlighten the importance of planting trees. And since change only happens when we as individuals take a chance, so please everyone, like plant a tree and then like spread this message of how important trees are in our lives. That's it.
Thank you, Suzanne.
I guess Himani has not spoken anything about anything yet. So, Himani, do you want to talk about something?
Yes, thank you, Divija. I was going to speak about a moment that is going on currently in my city. Talking about Nagpur, there is one area which is in the heart of Nagpur, which is called as Ajni. Since there are a lot of metro construction going on in our city, to make the station, they are planning to cut 450 trees in phase one, just to construct a station for a metro. And this is the first time that actually the youth of Nagpur has come together, and we have started this movement wherein we are saying that please do not cut those trees, and that is just a phase one. So overall, they are trying to cut more than 1,000 trees, and like we have come together as a youth, and we are planning to recreate a kind of chipko moment wherein we are going to go to that place and we are going to hug the trees in order to protest. We are silently protesting against the idea of creating any infrastructure there, as that particular green patch is a lot of oxygen for the city comes from there, and also it's there are all sort of birds and animals that are surviving there. So if they cut this whole patch in three phases and we lose almost 1,000 and more than trees, we would really feel very bad. And so I'll be sharing a link wherein you can help us, and you just have to click on that link and you have to join us in saving those trees. And it would mean a lot to me and to people here in Nagpur. So yeah, I wanted to add that.
Hi, Mani. We would love to help you out in this noble cause.
Yes, please do share the
Thank you.
link.
Definitely, I'm going to do that today in the group since we are having this environment day education. Thank you.
Is there anybody else left that would like to share? I think Tanu, I saw her, Tanushri.
Sanu already shared.
She
But is it
already spoke.
something? Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. Tanushri, did you share?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
yes, we
now we
can
can.
now.
Yes, I've shared.
So there was this one question which is popping in inside my head, and anyone is like free to answer that question or be a part of that discussion. So there are like a lot of companies who are producing a lot of waste into the environment. But there's also this thing called CSR policy where you have to pay out or do certain things uh, as a part of producing so many waste, so much of waste. So is that doing justice to environment?
Are you talking about the CSR initiatives by the company?
Yes.
But can you repeat the question again?
So I'm saying that there's a lot of companies who are producing a lot of waste, and there's this policy called CSR policy in which we have to do either pay or do something to for the environment or for kids or for people in general. So do you think that
Right.
having a CSR policy doing justice to environment?
Divija, I
Um,
don't think. Oh, uh,
no. Go
all
ahead.
right.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Divija, I don't. All right. I don't think that it is doing justice. All right. First of all, the companies really need to work on their carbon footprint. They really work on having a sustainable uh, way of making products and sustainable way so that it is not harmful to the nature. And then if they're doing the CSR activities, whatever is the cause that is closer to their heart, I mean, that is acceptable, but not at the cost of the nature. And I think we as consumers, we can step in and really, if you're really researching, if you're buying a product or a brand and that is really close to your heart, are you really researching on the carbon footprint that the industry is leaving
The
behind,
emissions,
that
yes.
particular company is leaving behind? So if we as consumers are really aware of it, and even as influencers are really aware of it, and we support such companies, I think it is very easy to find a replacement and a good solution for it, and that will motivate the companies that are not doing it right now. It will motivate them also and incentivize them also, that this is kind of a trend maybe in their terms, and they'll really work towards it.
Probably they can opt for
I'd like
incineration
to,
plants.
That's what I feel.
yeah, I'd like to answer that question, what you asked. There are two ways of seeing that question regarding the CSR initiative. First of all, I feel CSR initiatives by the company are absolutely a boon for us, especially in times of COVID. Every company is supposed to give a percentage of their share to the needy people. So in times of COVID, what happened was most of the CSR initiative funds were allocated for oxygen cylinders. Now, when you ask the question related to environment, before starting any company, a company will have rules and regulations set out by the government when it comes in terms of environmental aspects, like they cannot build a company over a water body, or the kind of centimeters. I don't know much about the technical terms, but all I know is, since my brother is a civil engineer, I've heard from him that every company will have rules and regulations by the government which they have to follow. So I feel through CSR initiative they are doing justice to the needy people, but may not be to the environment. But if the government finds out that a particular company or a construction site is actually not following the rules, then they will have to take it off. For example, last year in Kochi, there was a project by a very renowned flat ownership, which costed around 32 CR. And last year, because both, it had around 116 to 24 flats, and all the major posh people stayed there. And what happened was, government found out that the flat has been constructed in a wrong way on the water body. So they were asked to immediately demolish it. So I feel that if you violate the rules of the government, then they will take an action towards it. So I don't think companies are actually, what do you call, crossing their limits when it comes to environment. Otherwise, they'll be screwed for a lifetime.
That is true.
I actually agree with you, Archana, but unfortunately, we don't have that stringent, that stricter rules in most of the countries. And I think this is a very good point, that government really needs to take it up and make amendments in their laws to make sure that these laws are quite strict with the companies. So I think that
And
will
what
really help.
happens with most
There
of the
might be,
companies
I
is that since
also,
all these companies, yeah, sure.
yes, Archana, yes, sir, you can continue. I was just
What
saying
I
that
feel is, go ahead.
I
Go
was just
ahead, go
saying
ahead.
that there are strict rules and regulations, as once Rajiv sir only pointed it out, that the implementation is not that great. There are rules and regulations by the government, but implementation is not that great.
This is where corruption plays a huge part. When the company people offers them a great deal of money and they take it and they'll be like, "Okay, you do whatever you want in your own ways." This is where corruption plays a part. So I feel we should have, like Shweta said, we should have strict implementation. And one more thing regarding what I feel in terms of a climate having prevention methods is that I feel if our government, okay, I'm not a person who supports any political party in particular, but I feel our government should have an assemblage of educated people from all spheres of, from all walks of life. For example, we have the best of, activists from climate department or environmental department. If we have an assemblage of those kind of people, and giving them ideas to the government. I feel if we have a committee of leaders working towards it in our country, then maybe to an extent changes can happen. I feel so. Am I stuck?
No, 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 we can hear you properly.
For me, everybody is stuck except for Aishwarya and Divya.
So,
Absolutely agree with what you
Archana,
say. That's
this
a good
point that you made about people from different fields getting to be in the government assembly, I think that's a very fair point. And I realize that right now, also, when we were having this discussion, like Asmita brought up how her architecture degree would help her construct buildings that do not damage the environment like traditional buildings would, or the fact that Zoya brought up fashion and how it can influence the environment. I think there are different fields like that, be it engineering, be it science, be it arts. I think everybody has a different perspective to offer that could benefit in the long run. So, saving the environment doesn't
And
have to.
also, I feel the rules and regulations, like when it comes to Dubai, if you litter off, even if you put a small toffee paper, you are supposed to pay taxes. And if when in India, for example, in my case, I don't mind putting a plastic, what do you call, even a kurkure packet or a Lay's packet anywhere outside because I'm not scared of the policies. Maybe sometimes I might do. But if I travel to Dubai, I would not even dare to do that act because I know that if I do, then there will be certain consequences. So I feel if our government is having a extremely strict policy of, imposing a fine or something like that, maybe it can also contribute in helping reduce the plastic waste on roads. Yeah.
Also, adding to what you said, I think that's a great idea. I also feel somehow we should have a degree for politicians to kind of, get into their
Right.
seats, which we don't. Like we have degrees for engineers, for doctors, and people who are running the country don't need a degree. It does not. I can't fathom this whole idea. So I think if we could somehow get that to a point, because most of them, I'm sure, don't know the laws. Like anybody in the country, we as us also, we don't know each and every law. But say, for example, when you're a medical student, if you're an architectural student, you know each and everything about that particular subject. So if you want to lead the country, I feel like they should know about that in detail. And there should be a degree to if you want to run the country. I don't know how far that is achievable, but yeah.
Let's not like shift the topic from Environment Day to politicians.
But
So, Shalini, do you have something to say?
Hi everyone. Guys, apologies. I cannot turn my camera on. I just got my COVID vaccine today, so I'm feeling a little low right now. So I want to share an instance. Like back in my childhood, whenever we go to railway station, like for the trips to the different places, my whole family used to, do a kind of shram dan, like where we pick up the garbage around and everything, right? So we definitely pick it from everywhere, like wherever we go. To be very honest, people around us join us too. And that was really amazing experience I ever had in my life, like back to my childhood. So I think this is what just right now coming into my mind to share with you all.
Well, thank you, Shalini.